Hey guys, Jake here, and today I'm here with week number 5 of the CPC. This week we're going up against A12 QSD, coach of the Arkham City Delibirds. I'm sure a lot of you know A12. He's kind of got a reputation in the community for not really just drafting the best teams on paper, but he always does really well with them, and usually puts in a lot of work and has success through his good building and playing. So yeah, we're up against A12 this week. Going into this game, we are sitting at 4-0, plus 10, I believe, and if we win this game, we would go to 17-0 in the CPC regular season, which sounds really cool, and I want to try and get to that. So I just want to keep winning as much regular seasons game as I can. Maybe even go with an undefeated season. It's asking for a lot, but I think I can do it. So yeah, so we're going up against 12. One thing I want to mention real quick is that starting this week, I made a couple free agent transactions, and that was those were I dropped Halucha for Lucario, and I dropped Seismitoad for Rhyperior, and I dropped Halucha for Lucario because I honestly did not think that I was really a fan of using Halucha on this team because, while you could say Halucha fit my team better, I honestly was just not very comfortable with using Halucha. I feel like Halucha relies too much on setup to be an actual threat, and it's kind of hard for it to set up unless you are unless you have one of the Tapus on your team, which means it can run like the Grassy Seed and Electric Seed, stuff like that, which unfortunately I do not. So yeah, I didn't really like how I was using Halucha, so I decided to drop for Lucario. I'm much more comfortable with, and I dropped Seismitoad for Rhyperior because I needed to drop some points because Lucario is more expensive than Halucha, and Rhyperior is a pretty fun mon that I've actually never used in the format, and I wanted to try it out because I feel every time I prep for Rhyperior, it's always a nuisance because it just hits so hard even uninvested. It's quite insane. So yeah, so those are the trades I made. Without further ado, I'll talk about A12's team. His team consists of Mega Charizard Y, Kyurem Black, Zapdos, Diggersby, Heracross, Zoroark, Cloyster, Hippowdon, and Avalugg. So he's got a very interesting team. I don't think his draft is very good in all honesty, but that doesn't mean he can't do good with using it. Although A12 does get a fair bit of criticism on his drafts, he always stands by them, which I think is important because I think he's comfortable with these drafts that I'm using, which is definitely good for him. But it means it's a lot more threatening for me because his team is incredibly scary. Overall, I'd say the matchup is about even. We both have really big threats to each other's team, but yeah. So first off, he's got the Mega Charizard Y. Mega Charizard Y is just a massive threat to my team. I really do not have good certains to it. My fire resists on this team are Rhyperior, Manaphy, and Metagross. Now, Manaphy dies to offensive Fire Blast plus Solar Beam. Did I say Metagross? I meant Hydreigon. Hydreigon gets OHKO'd by Focus Blast and is outsped, and Rhyperior just fucking drops to Solar Beam. So yeah, Charizard Y is a gigantic threat, and it'll really be tough for me to play around. Kyurem Black is not the biggest issue to my problem. I do have some pretty decent checks to it. If he does bring the Kyurem Black, I'm 100% expecting that thing to be Roselli Berry to take Dazzling Gleams from my Manaphy and a Hyper Voice from my Mega Gardevoir. So yeah, that's something to point out. Zapdos is a really big nuisance to my team. It just checks so much of my team well defensively, and it's really annoying. It's also kind of hard for me to switch into, so something like an offensive Zapdos is definitely something I can see coming in this game. And I kind of want to get rocks up early this game because they do really hinder three of his best mons on his team: Zapdos, Mega Charizard Y, and the Kyurem Black. So yeah, he's also got the Diggersby. Diggersby is a massive threat to my team, and if you don't know A12, Well, basically, A12 is kind of famous for his love for Diggersby. He thinks it's one of the best mods in the format, I believe, which is a pretty bold statement. But it definitely is a huge threat to my team, as it is to most teams, because I just don't really have a good Diggersby switch in, especially if he's life or banned. Usually return just destroys most of my team, and basically anything that resists return just drops to earthquake. So yeah, huge threat to my team. It definitely will be really tough for me to play around. I'm kind of expecting to Scarf Diggersby this game because that's what people were bringing me in mocks, and this is also the second time in 3 weeks I am facing a Diggersby, because I actually played Abe when he had it week 3, I think it was, and then he traded to A12. So yeah, screw you, Abe, because I do not want to face this monster again. But here I am. So yeah, Diggersby is a huge threat. He's also got the Zoroark. I hate Zoroark because I just never play that good against it. It always just crosses my mind, and during this game I actually tried beforehand. I made a few measures to try and stop me from getting about Zoroark. I had a notepad to the right of the screen saying Zoroark, Zoroark, Zoroark in capital letters to try and grab my attention. So like every turn. So I actually thought and considered, oh, this might be Zoroark, and yeah, I just put Zoroark like everywhere on my screen. I like put it on multiple tabs. Usually when I play Zoroark, I am not playing that good because I don't consider the possibility that this might be Zoroark. So I really took some extra measures to try and make myself not play like an idiot around Zoroark pretty much. So yeah, he's also got the Heracross. I do have a couple good checks to Heracross, but something like Scarf Heracross is definitely a huge threat if my team is weakened enough. He's also got the Cloyster. Fun fact, I did not know he had Cloyster until the day we played this game, because the transactions for this week were announced very, very late. He originally had a Meloetta over Cloyster, which my team can deal with a lot better than Cloyster. But he traded it with DD, so he got the Cloyster, which is definitely very, very annoying. He's also got the Hippowdon. Hippowdon, I honestly don't expect him to bring this game at all, because it just has pretty awful matchup. I have a lot of special mons that can just run through. They could just capitalize on Hippowdon and run shop. So he's also got the Avalugg. Avalugg I don't really expect to come at all. Pretty much similar thing with Hippowdon. Too many of my special attackers just capitalize on Avalugg, so I really don't expect him to bring it. But yeah, overall, his team is very threatening. Definitely not the best structured draft in terms of synergy, but A12 can definitely make it work. If you look at my draft, I have some special mounts that can basically just run through his team. Like, he just cannot deal with them defensively. But unfortunately, I can't just bring those three offensively, because I do have to try and structure my team around to not lose to just other mods on his team. Like, well, I could bring some mods that have a better matchup. I need to kind of structure my team in a way so I don't lose to this. You'll see what I'm talking about more later. So the first mod I decided to put on this team was this Mega Gardevoir. We're rocking max speed, max special attack, just 4 events, pretty standard. Hyper Voice, Hidden Power Rock, Wish, and Calm Mind. So this mod, he really just doesn't have good switch-ins to, because he does not have a Steel type. His Fairy Resist is Mega Charizard X, not Mega Charizard X, Mega Charizard Y, which gets OHKO'd by Hidden Power Rock if I'm max special attack, which is the reason why I am running max special attack. So yeah, so Hyper Voice and Hidden Power Rock are really the only moves I needed. The last couple moves were tricky. I decided to go with Wish and Calm Mind. Wishes because Wish and Calm Mind help me like really capitalize on a really bulky Zapdos. I did play around with a few other options. I think I considered Will-O-Wisp. What else did I consider? I think Taunt, Destiny Bond. So yeah, I had a lot of options, but I decided to go with these two just because they help me really deal with Zapdos the best. So, but yeah, Guard just destroys him. His fastest mon is Zoroark at 105, and then it goes from and then it's Zapdos and Mega Charizard Y, which I speed tie with. So it outspeeds so much of his team, which is why I'm really expecting to bring a lot of Scarfers for stuff like my Manaphy and for my Mega Gardevoir. So yeah, guards are good mon in this matchup. The next mon on my team is a very weird set. Not sure if it was the most effective, but I did bring it. This was this Manaphy, rocking Tail Glow, Surf, Ancient Power, and Protect, Rocky MZ. So we got the Z Ancient Power, max speed, max HP. So this is a pretty odd set. Basically, my thought process was I want this Manaphy to be able to pivot into stuff like Charizard Y. The max HP actually lets me take a Flamethrower into Solar Beam, which is pretty clutch. This EV spread, honestly, I could have made it more efficient, because I kind of was lazy with this EV spread, not gonna lie. But yeah, if you look at his draft, his only water resist is actually Kyurem Black and Cloyster, which is quite funny because they both share a weakness to Rock, which is why I am the Z Ancient Power. And another reason why I am the Z Ancient Power is so I have a chance of immediately one-shotting the Charizard, which is very nice considering how big of a threat this thing is to my team. I can eat a Solar Beam if need be and just blow that thing back. The annoying thing about this team is that he does have the Charizard Y, which can set up Sun and weaken my Surfs, but I still think that this mod could do work, but in all honesty, if you look at his team, Z Rain Dance did do a ton of work, but I wanted this thing to somewhat deal with Zard, so hence why I didn't bring something like a Z Rain Dance. Also, Z Rain Dance was very tough to get up versus team because I need 2 free turns to be able to do that, and I couldn't really do that versus any of his mons except for Hippowdon and Avalok, which I both said I really do not think they will be coming. So yeah, so yeah, we got the Manaphy set. Next up, I got another interesting set. So I've got a Choice Scarf for Dragon, rocking Draco Meteor, Dark Pulse, Rock Slide, and U-Turn. Speed creeping, max speed, speed boosting nature, Kyurem Black, max special attack, 24 speed. Yeah, so basically, the first thing that I saw when I looked at his team was that, holy crap, Specs Hydreigon just demolishes him. He has nothing to switch into. I basically get a kill every time. But the thing is, as I said earlier, the matchup is very weird, so I think he'll be forced to bring a lot of Scarfers, and I kind of want this Hydreigon to be able to pivot in and be able to outspeed and one-shot the Charizard, which is why I'm a Scarf Hydreigon. Now, just because I'm a Scarf Hydreigon doesn't mean I don't hit hard. He actually really doesn't have a switch into a Draco Meteor. His Dragon Resist is non-existent, which means I can pretty much fire off Draco Meteors all day. Especially if I get Rocks up for that Zapdos. I have Rock Slide to Oko the Charizard Y, and yeah, pretty much Dark Pulse and Dual Stab was all I needed. I actually considered just running Dragon Pulse over Draco Meteor. You know, I definitely 100% should have done that, but the thing was, I made the set when he still had Meloetta, and I forgot to change Dark Pulse to Dragon Pulse, because like he actually has no Dragon Resist and no Mon weak to Dark, so I should have ran Dragon Pulse over Dark Pulse, so that was probably misprep on my end. But yeah, U-turn is just for momentum. So yeah, next up I've got this Metagross rocking Toxic, Stealth Rock, Sand Headbutt, and Bullet Punch with the Shuka Berry, 252 HP, 68 bold, or 68 impish, 176 special defense, and 12 speed. 12 speed is just basically to it's if it wants to speed creep me with anything. This 176 special defense means that I do not get 2KO'd by a Kyurem Black's Shadow Ball, which is very nice. Reason I say Shadow Ball is because, for one, if he wants to go for Earth Power, then I have the Shuka Berry, because like Earth Power is stronger, so you might think, oh, why are you cutting that? Well, I do have the Shuka Berry, and also something that I've seen people do a lot is when it's something like Kyurem Black versus something like a Jirachi or a Metagross, they kind of tend to run Shadow Ball or Shadow Claw, Claw, predicting the Sugar Berry. I'm not running Cassie Berry because I am invested to not get too KO'd by a Shadow Claw or Shadow Ball because of all this defense investment. And so yeah, basically this thing's role is to do is basically get up rocks because it's so good versus a lot of team. Pivot into Kieran Black. I can Toxic stuff like Zapdos, Toxic Zard on the Switch, even though that's probably not my best play. But basically the main thing Toxic is for Zapdos and Hippowdon. Zen Headbutt hits most of his team except for Zoroark, and Bullet Punch is pretty good because a lot of his team is somewhat frail, and the priority is nice, especially for stuff such like Zoroark, Diggersby, Heracross. So yeah, Metagross not the most important mon in this game, but rocks are huge. So yeah, and next up I've got my Golbat. Physically defensive Golbat with Eviolite, Roost, U-Turn, Brave Bird, and Toxic. So pretty standard set, just max HP, max defense, pretty much. And basically, this thing's job is it can kind of deal with Scarf Diggersby. Basically, sorry, I was getting my charger, but basically, Scarf Return will not 2 KO me, and I can like go into Earthquakes and stuff. Golbat is good on this game. It also kind of prevents the Heracross from knocking itself into its stabs. I can kind of play around it if I think we'll go for something like a knockoff. Scarf Stone Edge is like absolutely nothing to Golbat. It's ridiculous. Golbat is so bulky. So yeah, I have U-Turn just for momentum, and Toxic for if I want to catch like an incoming Zapdos. So or Kieran Black. So yeah, even though my play will probably be U-Turn, but it's good to have. So this thing is kind of set up fodder for Cloyster, but I do have another answer for Cloyster that I will show you in a second. Yeah, very important mod. Can deal with Heracross and Diggersby, both which I expect to be Scarf, or at least one I expect to be Scarf. Both is also a possibility. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah, so last but not least, I've got my Lucario. This Lucario is holding Focus Sash with Justified, Vacuum Wave, Stone Edge, Swords Dance, Close Combat, Speed Creeping, a Max Speed Heracross, Rocking 252, Attack 40, Special Attack, Vacuum Wave is basically so I can Oko a Cloyster. I can Oko a minus Special Defense Cloyster, which I think makes sense because if you look at his team, he wants Hydro Pump, Icicle Crash, or Icicle Spear, and I also anticipated Z Explosion plus Shell Smash. So those are the four moves I think he'll run. So I do think he will run minus Special Defense because it makes most sense in my opinion, because he doesn't want the lowering attack nature because he is mixed, and lowering his defense just doesn't make sense in my opinion, because it means he takes more damage from stuff like my Metagross. So yeah, Focus Sash is also nice because his rockers are really limited. Like he only has Hippowdon, and he also has Cloyster for hazards, I guess, but I'm not really expecting that. So yeah, this is very good. I spawned this game. Vacuum Wave, Oko's Zoroark, Stone Edge, Oko's Charizard. So if I'm inverse Charizard and I still have my Sash intact, I can Stone Edge that, Oko it, SD, so I can break Zapdos more easily. Honestly, maybe should have had coverage for Heracross, but this can still put in a decent amount of work. So yeah, so I'll be back with the match in a bit. See you. Alright, here we are with the match versus A12, and as you can see, he decided to bring a team of Zoroark, Diggersby, Zapdos, Heracross, Mega Charizard Y, and Cloyster. So this is pretty much what I expected. He didn't bring the Kieran Black, which I perfectly understand, because I do have a decent amount of checks to it. So yeah, pretty much what I expected. All these mons have pretty good matchups versus me. Yeah, I've got my Zoroark notepad on the side here. Well, while I was playing the game, of course, but yeah, I did have that to try and remind me of Zoroark as a possibility. So, yeah, so I decided to lead up with my Hydreigon because I look at his team and I realize he doesn't really have a good switch into a Draco Meteor right off the bat, besides something like Spidez Zapdos, and if he doesn't want to go into that, I do get some good information, so, yeah, I lead with my Hydreigon as he leads with his Zapdos. So it's Hydreigon versus Zapdos. So there are a lot of possible sets of Zapdos could be. One thing I am kind of scared of is Thunder Wave, and Thunder Wave is a very possible bring for speed control when I have stuff like Gardevoir and Manaphy, which he might want to speed with his slower threats. So I don't want to let my Hydreigon get paralyzed with potential Thunder Wave this early on in the game, considering how good it is in the matchup. So, and I also don't want to go for U-turn in case he is static or something, and I'm risking the static para. So I'm going to go hard into my Gardevoir, because I can probably 1v1 the Zapdos, and I also, I don't really mind if that thing gets paralyzed that much. I also didn't really have another great switch into it. I could have gone to Metagross here, but I didn't really want it weakened this early when he does have the Heracross in the back, and having my Metagross be able to take a hit from the Heracross could be really useful late game. So I feel my Zapdos isn't the worst switching, or my Gardevoir isn't the worst switching, because I can put on offensive pressure. So yeah, I go out into my Gardevoir as he just goes straight for the Volt Switch, which kind of sucks because I lose it about momentum, and it also sucks that he got the crit, because now my Gardevoir is really weakened, and it's already not in a good position. So yeah, he goes out here into his Diggersby, which is basically screaming this Choice Scarf, which does not surprise me. I do have a Golbat switch into this, and I don't think he'd predict the Golbat this early on to go for the knockoff when this thing is basically his win condition. I could have Will-O-Wisp, I could have Focus Blast, so I don't think that's his play. So I'm gonna go out into my Golbat. If he U-turns, it's not the end of the world, but he just goes for the return. As here, I want to keep this Golbat healthy, because it does do a pretty good job of dealing with the Heracross and this Diggersby. That return definitely does Scarf-like damage, so I'm under the assumption, I'm like pretty much sure this Diggersby is Scarf. So I'm gonna go for the Roost, because I figured I know he has two very possible switch-ins, but I want to keep this Golbat healthy so I can deal with the Scarf Diggersby. Otherwise, it's gonna be a huge problem. So I go for the Roost as he goes hard into his Charizard, and this is not a good position for me. So, expecting a fire move, I'm going to go hard into my Manaphy and go from there, because I do have the Rock MZ, I do have the Protect, and I could also pivot into my Hydreigon, so I have a couple plays I can make from there. So I'm going to go hard into my Manaphy as he Mega Evolves, and he actually goes for the Toxic, which surprised me a lot. I'm really not sure why he had Toxic in this game, because Fire Blast, Solar Beam, Focus Blast just two-shot everything on my team. So I'm not really sure what Toxic was there for. I'm also not sure why I went for it when he could have gone for something like a Fire Blast into Solar Beam to OHKO Manaphy to KO Manaphy, but it worked out for me. He did miss, which kind of sucks. And it definitely has an impact on the game. But so yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Here I'm thinking he might just think, oh, I can live if anyone hit from this Manaphy, and I can 2KO it with Solar Beam. So because of how big of a threat Manaphy can be to his team if it gets the right setup, I'm thinking he might just try and attack me here and get damage off to try and put me in range of one of his Scarfer mons. So I'm gonna just drop the Continental Crush right here, because if I can live Solar Beam and kill this Zard right here, I'm in a great position. So I do go for the Continental Crush as he goes into his Zapdos, and this is quite funny. The Continental Crush does 28% to the Zapdos, revealing that this Zapdos is actually a max special defense AV set. Which actually, at first I was like, this is really weird, but it's actually really effective versus my team. And it's a pretty good stop to my Manaphy, because now my Manaphy is forced out. So basically, I'm gonna hard switch into my Hydreigon here, thinking I can take a Volt Switch, as he goes into his Charizard Y. So basically, I don't have a switch into Charizard, as I've said many times. So I'm thinking I could just go for the Scarf Rock Slide and Oko it, but I still have the Zoroark notebook on deck, and I'm thinking this could be Zoroark. So this is a really tough play for me, because if he's not Zoroark and I go for the Rock Slide, I don't kill, and he one shots with me with something like Focus Blast. If I think if I want to guess out he's Zoroark and I go for something like a U-turn, then Charizard, and he is Charizard, then Charizard gets a kill. And because like assuming he'd go for something like Focus Blast, which I don't really have a switch to, and if he is U-turn and he is Zoroark, I break the disguise, but I also don't really have a great switch into Zoroark. I would have to let my Lucario get its Sash broken, which is unfortunate. But yeah, so I figure my best overall play here is to go for the Rock Slide, because if it is Zoroark, I can get some damage on it, and I just feel like this was probably a misplay on my end, but I go for the Rock Slide, hoping that he's Charizard, and I caught him off guard with the Scarf, because I probably shouldn't have risked my Hydreigon like this, but I just didn't want Zard getting another kill. I probably should have sacked my Gardevoir, but as you can see, I go for the Rock Slide on this turn. That does nothing. It breaks his disguise. He goes for the Focus Blast, and he lands, which really sucks because I lose my Hydreigon. I shouldn't have played it like that, because Hydreigon was so good versus team. Once I weakened the Zapdos, like it just demolished him. It was just not a good play on my part. I knew that Zoroark was a possibility, because I knew that Zoroark was a possibility, but basically I was just scared because I didn't want him to be Charizard and get a kill. So yeah, but I should have just known to keep my Hydreigon around at all costs. So now I'm forced to go into my Lucario, and so this is a pretty interesting play. I could be Scarf Lucario, and I also could be Sash. There's potential. There's Vacuum Waves is very probable when he has a Cloyster, so I think he's got to be wary of that. He has a Zapdos, which is pretty healthy, and he has a Charizard, and he has a Heracross to switch into this, and I also do have a Focus Sash. So I'm gonna actually go for the Stone Edge, predicting either one of the two to come in. Stone Edge won't do that much to Heracross, but it does more than Vacuum Wave would. Vacuum Wave would kill this this Zoroark, but it gets some nice chip damage on the Heracross if he does go into that. I'd rather do this than double because it's less risky, and if he does stay in, I can finish him off with a Vacuum Wave on the next turn, so it's not the end of the world. So I'm going to go for the Stone Edge on this turn, as he actually stays in, goes for the Focus Blast, and misses, which kind of sucks a lot. But yeah, it sucks a lot, because he would have been able to break my Zoroark Sash. Yeah, pretty unfortunate. I apologize for that, but yeah, here on this next turn, I really am expecting him to want to save this Zoroark, but I also don't really want to risk it, because my Zoroark Sash is so nice, and he also might just sack a Zoroark, considering how many Scarfers he has in the back for stuff like my Manaphy, and my Gardevoir. So I'm just gonna go for the Vacuum Wave on the potential that he does. I just want to sack this off, and my Sash isn't broken, but he actually makes pretty good play and goes hard into his Heracross. So yeah, on this next turn, I actually forget what I go for. Oh, on this next turn, so my Golbat switch in right here is very obvious, and it's incredibly obvious, and and if he goes for something like a knockoff, predicting that, I'm in a terrible position, because I actually have no way to stop Froakies from just going ham on my team. So I make the middle ground switch into my Manaphy here, because I'm thinking I really don't think he'll click close combat right now, because I do have a Golbat, and if he were to go over the close combat, and I got a free sit into my Golbat. I just get initiative, so I make the middle ground play into my Manaphy. Another reason I go into my Manaphy here is because it's not really the most important mon in this game. It's somewhat expendable, so yeah. As he actually goes into his Charizard, I'm guessing 100% was a double predicting the Golbat. And so now I'm versus Charizard. Ancient Power won't kill, but it will. I want to get damage on that thing, basically. So I just go for the Ancient Power as he brings in his Zapdos, and now I'm just gonna go for the Protect, seeing what he wants to do. I can stall it Sun turn. But yeah, basically I'm the back foot, and it is not looking good for us right now. So I go for the Protect here, and he goes for the Volt Switch as expected, and now I decide to go for an Ancient Power because I just want as much chip damage. That I believe that that damage actually put him in range of guaranteed 100% range of Stone Edge from my Lucario, which is pretty nice. As he goes down to his Diggersby, so I do have Protect, so I can click that and scout which move he will go for. This is the reason why I had Protect in the first place. So I go for the Protect as he goes for the Wild Charge. So a play I can make on this turn is go into my Metagross, and I can take the Wild Charge pretty well as and then I can get up my rocks because I kind of need to start playing aggressively to get back into this game. So I go for the Wild Charge, and he gets a crit. That crit is really annoying, not gonna lie. You will see later on in the game how it mattered. So my Metagross would have been a lot healthier, and overall it just kind of sucks a lot. So now I can just get up my rocks. I'm definitely expecting him to switch as he goes into his Charizard. Oh, never mind. I didn't go for my Ox. I actually doubled predicting this because of the way he's been playing, and I need to make aggressive plays so Charizard wouldn't just get another kill. But yeah, because I am Sash, I can take a Fire Blast and one-shot this thing with Stone Edge. So I am going to do that as he goes for Fire Blast. I hang on with my Sash, I land the Stone Edge, and I knock out the Charizard, which is pretty nice, as he goes back into his Diggersby, and now he can pretty much just spam return, which is really, really annoying. Yeah, Vacuum Wave won't kill this. I do want to save my Lucario for a potential Cloyster, so I just go into my Metagross, expecting. I was kind of sucking it off, and I was also good because I did expect a U-turn 100% there. So yeah, as he goes into his Heracross. So here on this turn, if I wasn't crit earlier, I would be able to live any hit he'd go for and kill him with a Zen Headbutt, and even if he's like Bully Heracross, I can finish him off in the next turn with Bullet Punch. But because of the crit earlier, he's actually going to go for the knockoff and kill me, and that was actually a very high roll that he got. So yeah, not getting the luck is pretty mixed in this game, but yeah, kind of sucks. So here I'm forced to go into my Golbat. I pretty much lose at this point. I'm just gonna go for the Brave Bird because here I realize all he has to do is just knock me off, and then you win with Scarf Diggersby. So I just go for the Brave Bird for differential. So I click Brave Bird as he lets his Heracross go down, and now basically Diggersby is gonna come in. It's gonna quick return, and basically this is kind of weird play I did here, but I go into my Manaphy, max defense, max HP, max defense. Manaphy can actually live a return. It's actually roll a kill. So I figured the only way I can like potentially lower differential at this point is pulling a double here, predicting him to go into something like Zapdos. So I do that, and I pull a double into my Lucario, but it really doesn't make a difference because he just clicks return. Nothing wrong with that, and now I go into my Manaphy. It actually just dies, as and my Gardevoir, of course, dies to the Diggersby. So we take for a loss to 8-12, and the Arkham City Delibirds. This was just not my game. I didn't play that well. I didn't prep that well. things were messy all around. Just not my game. I've been on a this whole past week. Did not have a very good week when I came to League, so yeah, I really apologize for that. It's just not my week. My prep was very off. I could have prepped much better for Riggersby. I shouldn't have risked my Hydreigon like that. Hydreigon was such a crucial member of the team, and I let it go down. So, yeah, just not my game. It happens. We are now 4-1, and next week we're definitely looking to bounce back with a win versus Will. So, yes, look forward to that. Thank you all for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.